Hey, Jared.
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Good to finally meet you, man.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you for being here. I don't know if you know anything about me, but I do this. I don't know if they told you this is an interview, but I kind of like to hang out more like a podcast and just kind of
Okay.
talk about and your story and just so you know, I'm recording it.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. No, I heard that fire up when we started. So,
yeah,
not a problem.
okay. So just to get started, uh, can you tell me a little bit about AWP?
Yeah, Adventure with Purpose, started a little over 3 years ago, just kind of getting in the water as a hobby to show what was out of sight, out of mind, to bring people into the world of, those that just never have these types of experiences. And it started as a environmental cleanup with a goal of, can we clean up 3,000 pounds of garbage in the next 3 months? Well, we quickly kicked through that in 2 to 3 weeks, and it was like, holy crap, there's more under the water here than I thought. But it wasn't just about the garbage. It was also finding sunglasses, and it was finding cell phones, and the discovery of the treasure hunt, and can we track down these owners and return these items, and the joy on their face of, oh, I thought that I lost that phone forever. I was floating down the river with my friends, and they tell you the story, or the one time I ended up finding an urn, and had been dropped in the water 7 years earlier, and come to find out, she had gone to the river's edge, and it was a cold winter day, and tears are flowing, she's letting her loved one go, and she accidentally drops the entire thing in and didn't have the chance to spread the ashes, and doing the investigation work to track this down. But then it grew into so much more, as to, we accidentally ran into our first car in February of 2019 up in Portland, Oregon. It was 40 feet underwater. It was at a closed boat ramp. And, so we contacted the city of Portland, and we said, can we remove this vehicle and clean up the environment? And they actually denied it. They said, oh, you're recording this. Now you're going to need permits and all that other stuff. I'm like, you know what? I just don't want to go through all that. I'm coming 2.5 hours to your town on my dime to help clean up the environment. And for them, again, it's out of sight, out of mind. We don't need to worry about it. Well, in my mind, people never tell people that do tell me no. I always find a way around it. And
Uh-huh.
so,
So
so
you didn't actually, so you just started by, you wanted to clean up the
yeah,
environment. That's how you
yeah, yeah.
started. And it led to all these other things like the urn, which eventually led to the car. This might be a weird question to ask, but like, what was it like finding that first human remains, let's say?
That we started finding cars at almost every boat ramp. It was like just insane. But then that's where it led into a family reaching out to us from Warrenton, Missouri later on that same year, that said, we see that you've been sharing these videos online of finding vehicles and recovering them. We have a lost loved one, and we cannot get anybody here locally to help us out. The agencies either don't have the resources, or because of the red tape, everything has to be perfect before they can go in. They said, we don't have any funds to do so, and but we need your help. And so that's when we left shortly after Christmas of 2019. We made it to Warrenton, Missouri on the 29th. We put in the water at 9 a.m. that morning, and by 6 p.m. we had our first recovery of Nathan Ashby out of the water. The moment of finding for the very first time, not really understanding, knowing what it is that you're going to find, reaching in the back window and grabbing, and just the words of, oh, I'm so sorry, but knowing that you did find him, and that you are bringing him home, and that you are bringing him home that day to his family.
Mm-hmm.
It is a feeling like no other, to where, now fast forward to where, now we have 19 under our belt. It's
Jeez.
that we've quickly become, in a year and a half or 2 years, I'm going to say, the number one cold case investigation success rate organization around the entire world, solving 19 cold cases now, that nobody else has been able to give these families those answers that they were able to, that they just didn't have. And so I sometimes say it, and I don't mean this in the wrong way, Ryan, but it's
Mm.
almost as though, we have this hidden superpower in life that nobody else in the entire world, think about this, nobody else in the entire world has been able to give this family answers in the way that we were, by coming in and just simply offering up our time and our services to our neighbors for free, and solving something that nobody else could do for them.
Mhm.
I don't even know how to explain it, but that's the closest I can get, is that you have this hidden superpower that nobody else has.
Well, that's what I was thinking too, and why I wanted to reach out to you. I think it's amazing. Like I read the Inside Edition thing and kind of got a little bit of a background and start to go back and watch the show, but I realized that I think I've come across your channel even before that when you were just finding stuff. And I don't know how it got into my feed, but I was like, this guy is interesting, man. Like I just kept wanting to watch.
Yeah.
But when I heard about this show from, it wasn't even from the article. It was like from a cousin of mine in Hawaii, um, who, by the way, had bought those not windbreaker. What's it called? Those glass breaker things. Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
Yeah,
I know
breakers,
she was trying to convince me to get these, and I was just like, what would you need those for? And then she turned me on to the show. And I was like, dude, this is a really good show. And I think more people, I mean, granted, it's blown up now. But more people, I'm surprised I haven't heard about it before. And it looks so professional. So you have a team and you don't charge people to do these services. I think that's absolutely amazing to
Yeah.
begin with.
One of the things that we say, AWP is an entire movement of all of us coming together around the world. There's not just, Jared and a couple of divers and camera guys,
Mhm.
4 of us who travel around the US in an RV helping these families. We are nothing more than boots on the ground. You helping us spread the message with a podcast, from CNN or Inside Edition doing their docuseries on us, to the, simply those that watch the videos that, share and like and help spread awareness of what we're doing. We are coming into a family that, they don't know where their lost loved one is, and they go through different phases, whether it's 3 months in, 7 months in, 7 years in, or 30 years in. There's different phases that they're going through, and that the only thing that we ask of them, and they don't have to participate, but you say, in order for us to come in and help you out, we have one ask. And that ask is, do you mind if we document what is it we're doing for you and your family? So that way the next family can find us in the same way that your family did. And if you don't want to be on camera, not a problem at all. We can still tell the story of these families, allowing us to record and document something that's so intimate and personal to their lives, in hopes that it's going to help the next family.
How do you feel that that's affected you? Does it affect you personally? I mean, I'm sure it's super emotional. I've watched, obviously, when you do find bodies, it's you hold it together pretty well, man. Like I would be, I don't know how I could react in that situation. You've done it, what, 19 times now?
Yeah,
Even more, because sometimes you don't even find anything. That's got to be
yeah.
emotional too.
The first 10 was the hardest for me, because we're coming into this with zero background. Now, the 2 of us putting our heads together, can we solve this for you? What's most logical? Where were they last seen? Where did they live? Where did they work? Now let's focus and triangulate this and work on a 5-mile radius from where they were last seen. And that's normally where they're going to be seen or be found. But we're also working with the clues of, were they suicidal by chance? Is this nothing more than an accident? If it's straight up foul play right out of the gate, like, we don't touch those because we have family and, our own safety. So those are the 2 types of cases we take on. And so coming back to, saying that we're just regular, ordinary, common people, and I really urge other people to do this as well. If you have sonar on your boat, start scanning these boat ramps, because we're just a couple of guys in an RV going out there and helping our neighbor. And that's all we're doing.
I assume that and I've seen in a couple episodes, you get like tips from sometimes people that are just, I guess, fans of the show. Do you ever find that you get a lot of like misleading stuff, people who just want to be, a part of it, or is it always like pretty good tips?
We tend to shy away from those that are the mediums, the psychics of the world.
Mhm.
I have a saying for them when they reach out. They say, I know right where they're at, and I guaranteed 100%. And the response that I have for them is, if you are so sure, I'm not going to credit or discredit what it is you're telling me. But what it is I found that in every circumstance so far has never been correct.
Mhm.
If you're so confident, so sure, you put down the $5,000 deposit. I will go check it out. And if you are correct, I will double your money and pay you $10,000 back.
Wow.
Or if not, I keep your money for my time. Nobody's taken me up on my offer yet on that one.
Right,
So
right.
Other than that, I take, all other tips serious as far as, have they been seen? Did they know something about the case? And then we look at what it is that we know with our normal search patterns. And we're starting to see patterns in this as to what we're doing as well. If they have dementia, they have what's called the Florida effect. They kind of go into southeastern. I don't know the reason for it, but that's usually the direction they go. Dementia patients also, 4% of them usually end up in the water. Those that end up in the woods, as far as dementia patients, they're usually going to be found within a couple hundred yards of their vehicle. They get, they crash, they get confused, they run out of gas, they end up, becoming dehydrated, and it's an unfortunate circumstance. Did we have a cell phone ping? But just listening to these families, I'm not coming in with arrogance. I'm coming in with empathy and again, a dad, a brother, a cousin, somebody that can relate to, the thought of losing someone, and just simply asking as many questions.
Well, I think that's incredible that you guys are doing this, and that I guess it's not very surprising that law enforcement, they, after how many years, sometimes I don't know how long it takes for them to not, or to give up on a search.
Usually 2 to 3 days.
And then they're done.
Yes, because they have no other, what they do is they put out a bolo, be on the lookout. No information comes across, and really it's yes, there may be water, but they may not have the technology, or go back 23 years ago or 30 years ago in some of these cases. And you think about sonar technology, the fish finders were not available in the same way that they are now. Fish finders back in the day just used to be a little bleep, bleep straight down.
Does law enforcement appreciate this, or do they think that you guys are getting in the way? Because these are things that are cold cases. These are things that they're not even looking at anymore.
It's, for the most part nowadays, we've had zero issues. In the past, if you look at, Nicholas Allen over in North Carolina, with that one, we just had a small town, good old boys. And they just did not want to hear anything right out of the gate, and turf wars. And you have to think about this too. At first, as we started, we're coming in as documentary filmmakers. We're coming in as, YouTubers.
Right.
And we're in a world of YouTubers just want to shove a camera in people's faces, in police faces, to get, name and badge number, and, to get a right out of them. That's not what we do. We do a lot to protect, and we support the blue line, and not show them in a negative light, even when we're treated unfairly, in our opinion. But we've learned a lot as we've grown as well, to where we're now mic'd up. I have the camera stay back as I go up, and I have a conversation with law enforcement first if they don't know who we are. But as we grow, they're learning who we are, and they're appreciating as we roll in that, we have, the trailer that I made the decision to wrap it on this last trip before we got started for the fall trip, that it gave the professional appearance of, hey, this isn't just some crappy RV that's rolling across the US with a crappy trailer that's all dinged up and duct taped up. That this is a professional search team. And by all means, they just found something that we were not able to. And so, yeah, we are being received a lot better than we were in the past. Check this out, Ryan. I'm actually received a reserve deputy badge in Michigan. I've got one out of Texas now as a deputy. How many other, documentary filmmakers, YouTubers, that are cruising across the US in an RV, making a difference in the world, and they're getting, challenge coins from the sheriff's departments and law enforcement, and just one after the other. It's a feeling like no other, being able to be respected within the law enforcement community when you're not one of them, and being able to again come back to the, that superhero for the family that, to help them out. And and one of these things too is, we don't do this for show. It's like, hey, Ryan, check this out. Look at everything we just did. That we've been invited to, memorials and stuff like that. And we don't go to them, because it's not a, hey, look, we did this for you. It's this is your time for your family to be nice and private, and to, honor your loved one that's been, that has now been brought home. And that's your focus for you and your family. It's not about us at this point.
Speaking of, I think you mentioned your RV, right? That you said some shitty RV that you're driving around in, and you've has given you problems. We were talking to Kristen, and we heard that some issues happened with the RV recently.
Listen, I think we should be sponsored by Gorilla Tape because
Yeah.
so the way that I started out, I mean, go back to 2018, beginning 2019 when we started this entire thing. I just came out of a bad business deal, just went through bankruptcy. I didn't even have any dive tanks or really any gear other than my dry suit that had been sitting on the shelf for 10 years. And so really we were begging for air from the local dive shops, like, hey, we're doing good things for the environment. Do you mind, supporting us? And so they would lend me tanks and air and whatnot. And so we go from the sleeping in the back of the car to, she realized that, hey, we do need an RV. And so, we found this 1999 mini Winnebago, dry rot galore. So really Gorilla Tape has been our friend to duct tape this thing and hold this thing together, but we're also treated as a vehicle, as a tool. We don't keep it on the road like you see other people with their RVs. So we're always banging it up for sure. But you also asked about things that have happened recently.
Yeah.
We caught it on fire.
Uh-huh.
Our batteries caught on fire and we had to use the fire extinguisher, and we were without power for a little bit. Our generator's recently blown up. And then on one of our off-road excursions, I backed over the muffler pipe and it bent it all up and we couldn't get it off. And so I had to take out, we have a 14-inch big saw like you see like fire departments use when they cut doors open. So we have one of those in our gear trailer. So we're underneath the RV and we're cutting the muffler off. But now keep in mind, this is in front of the catalytic converter. So now we're running for 2 days with just a straight pipe. And I mean, this thing is loud. I mean, it was embarrassing loud. But anyway, so we ended up making the decision to at least put the catalytic converter back on, but it didn't have the rest of the pipe that went out. And so now we're shooting all the heat directly from the muffler right next to the gas tank and the propane tank, which is not the best idea. And so then I'm not going to say it boiled the gas, but it made it quite hot that when we filled up the tank, it pressurized the tank and we had fuel. If you can envision this, we actually had fuel shooting from the gas tank where you fill it up to like 5 to 8 feet out.
I actually saw the video. Again, I think, so we've been talking to Kristen for a bit. I don't know if you know that or not, but we've been talking to her since end of last year. Yeah. And this is actually this whole thing. It's really not really just for an interview. I have a foundation called the Nigahiga Foundation, and we have a show called Best Day Ever. And the whole idea started off basically with I was doing a bunch of Make-A-Wish Foundation wishes. And, you hear all these stories about people who have helped these families, the caregivers, and these kids. It's great that they're getting wishes. But to me, I wanted to do something for those caregivers, the people who are doing great, just good people doing good things. And that's kind of what the idea of the show is giving someone their best day ever. So when we heard about you, we wanted to contact you, and we did talk to Kristen, and she mentioned what we normally would do is do something to help whoever it is we're helping, or like give them like a vacation or give them something cool. But Kristen said that you probably wouldn't be interested in that. And in the thing that you needed the most was probably help with the RV. So at the time it did not catch on fire. This is very recent and we did not know that was a thing. But anyway, to wrap it up, I think from the Nigahiga Foundation, we wanted to donate $25,000 to you and your team, and just try and support you guys in what you're doing, because we think it's amazing.
That's really amazing, Ryan, and I really appreciate that. And I come back to the, what I continue to say, AWP is not me, is not, my lead diver. This really is an entire movement of everybody coming together, in support like this. And I will say this is our largest donation to date, and I don't even know what to say. I mean, I really appreciate that, Ryan, for you and you said your mom being a part of this with us.
Well, I think it's very, very much deserved. I think you guys are literally changing lives for a lot of people, and you guys aren't expecting anything. I think you mentioned in a video that sometimes there's rewards and they'll give that to you, but you guys don't ask for anything. And I think it's got to be expensive. I mean, just looking at the show and how it's produced, it looks amazing. It looks like a real show that should be on TV. But I really respect what you guys are doing, you and your whole team. And yeah, we wanted to see if we can help out. It's not enough probably to fix the whole RV or even get you a new one, but hopefully help you guys a little bit in with your equipment and stuff like that.
Well, it absolutely will. In fact, let me tell you what we've done since the RV has, we had those issues with it. I was going to just scrap the RV because I could not, in my conscious, sell this to somebody else, because it was like just a rolling bomb going down the road. But there's another dive team called Chaos Divers, Jacob Grubbs, and so I made a trip to go actually purchase a new or used RV. It's an '07 Chateau, and it's a Super C we purchased used. And in doing so, where I'm tying Jacob Grubbs into all this as well with Chaos Divers is, and if you want to put a couple grand into it, here's what you need to do to fix it. And so anyway, so he's super stoked because I gave my other RV to him. He's already got it fixed up and running. I met up with him a couple days ago. So this is a trickle down double win for both of us. So I really appreciate you being a part of this. But they say that a rising tide lifts all boats. We've done 19. 26 have now been brought home because of the AWP movement.
Oh, that's awesome.
You have Jeremy Sides from Exploring with Nug has found 3 people that, Jacob Grubbs and Lindsay and their team, they've now found 3 people. And so the movement is really growing, and not just here in the US, but also worldwide, that we have, Down Under Dan and Michael Oliver down in Australia are now out there searching for people, and they found 53 vehicles. And one of these vehicles they found may have a lost loved one as well. So again, like I said, it's an entire movement with everybody, and you're now a part of this, just from finding out about us before and then interviewing us, but your donation as well. Thank you very much. That it all comes together.
Again, I appreciate that. One of the reasons that led us to you was the fact that you're just like this movement. It's not about you. And I think that's one of the best parts about this is you can really tell that you guys are just genuinely doing this for these families and trying to help people. And I think that's missing in a lot of content these days. So again, it's an honor to meet you, and it's been a pleasure.
Hey, thank you very much. Is there anything I can do for you? I mean, we've got I don't know, I've got a couple of stuff like that, or what can we do for you or your viewers?
I'll take a shirt.
Right.
But no, it was just nice to meet you. And yeah, like I said, the cousin that introduced me to you is going to be stoked and hyped for this. And we'll keep watching, man.
Well, it sounds good. I appreciate it.
All right. Well, thank you.
Nigahiga.